The last type of graph we're going to talk about today is a line graph. And a line graph is typically best used to show a trend over time. You want to show change of how something changed over time. And it also can help to make estimates. Think about a time graph. We might show the price of gas over the last 10 years and how it was rising, or salaries over the last 20 years and how those have changed. Line graphs are really best for showing a change over time. So anytime you're doing time in a table, in a graph, not that this is your only choice, but a lot of times it's the best choice when you want to show that change. And we can also use a line graph to make an estimate maybe in between these values. So let's make a line graph for Mr. Yang's salary, and then we're going to estimate it. We want to estimate his salary in 1992. So we're going to be graphing, again, I like to title, so Mr. Yang's salary. And because we're typically showing change over time, time is almost always your x-axis. So here our time is going to be in years. And we want to space these out evenly according to the year, okay? So one way that a graph could be misleading, which we will talk about in the next lesson, is if you were just to count by different intervals throughout. So all of these are counted by 5. I would space them out evenly by 5. Now, if it helps, you can put the lines in between as you go then. Perfect. All right. And these are the ones that go with the years. All right. Then our salary, look at the minimum and maximum value. Our salary is going to be on the y-axis. Now, we have the lowest value of 42,000 and the highest value of almost 70,000. So here's a great spot where in a graph, to make a graph a little better, you might want to add in a break. And a break, you might see these before, they're like a little squiggle on the y-axis to say we're going to jump a little bit. We don't want to show 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Really, we wouldn't want to show anything below 40,000 because the salary starts so high. So you are allowed to use a break. Just know that sometimes this can be used to mislead people. So we're going to use it because it's best for this situation, not because we're trying to mislead anything. So we're going to have 40, and I'm going to say in thousands. That way, if you add it on as your label, then you don't have to write 40,000. So we're doing money in thousands. So 40, 50, 60, 70. And then we can do maybe like 5s in between to help us graph. All right. So in 1985, he had $42,000. 85, we're going to take that up to 42 and plot it. In 1990, he had $49,000. In 95, he had 58. And it can help if you have a ruler to kind of trace it over too. We're tracing these over at about where they would be. And 69,000 would go all the way over for 2,000. So just under the 70. That looks good. Now in a line graph, since we're showing this trend, we can connect the dots. To show the change. So I don't know what he started with before 1985, so you wouldn't have anything before that. But from 85 to 90 you could connect. From 95 to 90 you could connect. And from 2000 to 95 you could connect those. Perfect, there we go. Now to use a line graph to estimate, all you want to do is trace up from the year that they're asking you to look at, and then trace over to see where that lands. So I'm going to use this dotted line tool because it's pretty helpful. All right, so we want to know what his salary is going to be in 1992. So go to the year 92 and maybe draw a little dotted line up from 92. Try to make it as perfectly vertical as possible. There we go. Now once you intersect with your line graph, here's my intersection right here, trace that point horizontal to your y-axis, and that'll help you make an estimate. So in 92, he probably made right around somewhere between 50 and 60,000. I'm gonna estimate probably about 52,000, maybe 53,000. And you can write that out. So Mr. Yang made about 52 to 53,000 in 1992. So we talked about 3 different types of graphs today. Remember, bar graphs are best for category data. Histograms are best for data in which you need to split it up into an interval. Maybe you're going to have a time frame or a span of money. That would be a histogram, and that's going to be a bar graph with the bars touching. And then the third type of line graph really is great to show how something changes over time, and that would be the line graph you do with the time on the x-axis. Perfect. You're ready to go on to your quick check.